there. There's enough hate on the internet as it is, so I thought might as well make a video about the things I don't hate, aka monthly faves. So this month, my hyperfixation has definitely been jewelry making. I've been trying to pace myself, but people who have ADHD know when the hyperfixation hits, there's no way to stop it. I am still very new. I only started last month. I have a nice little collection now. I'm wearing right here. I made this last month as my first thing. Here is the Bounty necklaces that I made this month. A couple Howl's Moving Castle, Howl's Room inspired ones. These are for, that's the main thing, is because I've been wanting lots of practice, I've been making stuff for other people. This was the first one I made pretty early on this month. Simple kind that I made. And then this one I made as a slight kind of tribute to Sailor Jupiter because she is my absolute favorite. First ever crush as a child. This one I tried kind of stepping out of my comfort zone because the other stuff is pretty easy to make. And instead of like using a pre-made pendant or something, this one I made the little charm. It's a little flower with the little leafies. This one's really pretty. I'm very happy with how this turned out too. That one's from me. I made that one for me, one of the few that are mine. And then this one's from my mother. I didn't just make necklaces, I also made earrings. Not that many though. I plan to make more. To match my mom's necklace, I made these little, very simple. Then these were the other ones that I made. Little bows. I made 3 bracelets. They're all K-pop themed. What I'm wearing right now it says Be Free, and this one is inspired by Cuban from Only One Of, his solo music video. Keeping in the Only One Of theme, my friend, I made a EDA, or Sungol, his solo album. This one was a little hard because I don't have the colors, but it is very sparkly. And friend, I made a Ruby Woozy solo. These are all, it's funny, these are all solos. I feel like that's a pretty decent amount that I made in my first full month of like really focusing on making jewelry. So I'm intrigued to see how much I make next month. As for makeup, I only have one thing and then something that's like kind of related to makeup, but I'm wearing the blush right now. It's hard to see because the light kind of blows it out. From Flower Nose. The most stunning makeup packaging I have ever seen, or at least ever held in person. I have used it a decent enough amount now, so like the little image is kind of gone. Freaking love this. I love how it makes my skin really soft because I don't wear any foundation. Usually my face just feels like my face. But it really really smooths it. So like it's not good to be sitting there and touching your face, but sometimes I do find myself just sitting there doing that. From the same collection, just the mirror. My sister got PR. I wanted this. I wasn't planning on purchasing it, but luckily my sister came through.
You mean little old me?
I honestly thought I wasn't gonna be a fan because it's smaller. I usually use bigger vintage and antique hand mirrors for my makeup. And this one's a lot smaller than I'm used to, but I really like it. I think it's because sometimes because I'm using older things, they tend to be a little heavier, especially because of the mirror. This one's really lightweight, so it's really, I'm a fan. I've been watching quite a lot of BL series. I have 3 that have been really like a favorite, and I'm pretty excited for each week. I think it's like 15, 16 minutes per episode, but it's like short and sweet. The plot is really simple. I enjoy that it is not overly complicated and there is very little drama. It is such an easy watch, especially for some other shows that I've been watching lately. I need something that I can just watch and not feel pain. And the chemistry on top of that, no trauma plus fantastic chemistry. It is such a good watch, and I'm so sad that it will be ending soon. One that I was surprised by. I was excited about it because of the Omega X members starring in it, but I had no clue what the plot was. I saw people making jokes that the trailer was like all fluffy, but then the plot was just like absolute trauma and sadness, and I'm just like, oh great, do I even want to get into this? I think what helps is I think they do a good job of showing the trauma, because there's enough, especially for Korean BLs, this one has a longer time slot, so they're able to actually go into like what's happening instead of like 3 seconds of a backstory and then you're just thrown into the plot. And the way that they go into the one character's backstory, I was instead of me being sad, I was like, wow, this is done really well, which is new for me, especially for KBLs. But that goes along for a lot of BLs that I've watched in the past. Because the two leads are already members of the group, they already have great chemistry. There's one clip that I saw on my timeline for like a further out episode. I was like, whoa, they're actually delivering. Like, I was really surprised. So I'm excited to see how that one ends. Another show I was really anticipating, Gongchan. He is from B1A4. I've been a Bana since they debuted, so it's been a long time. A lot of my faves, especially like 2nd gen and other people, even 3rd gen, have somehow ended up in BLs, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna ask why, I'm just gonna enjoy this. Again, because we have longer time slots, I'm able to enjoy the plot more and actually be more absorbed. And because I feel like the problem with some of these older, and it's not their fault, but some of the shorter shows, especially if they're trying to give you plot, every time you're like really beginning to be absorbed into the plot, it's done. Like, the episode's done, and it's like, it can be very frustrating, but with this, I'm able to enjoy the process. In the chemistry, I enjoy the older characters instead of like baby gays. High schoolers, even college students, because usually these college students are like first year, so they're still babies. I had high expectations, and so far I haven't been disappointed. The acting has been really great. I love the dynamic. I had seen a lot of people on my timeline yelling at people to read the manhwa. If I become impatient while waiting for an episode, I just might start reading it. Who knows? The show that has truly surprised me this month, I didn't have low expectations for this show. I just was expecting my silly little gays to be silly little gays. Yes, it is that, but it's the flow of this show is a breath of fresh air. Like, it's very fast paced, but it doesn't feel rushed. And that goes for the writing. I think one of my favorite things about these characters is the communication. I am so surprised we are getting characters who know how to communicate. And not just that, but having like important conversations about what it's like to live as a gay person. I'm always thrown each episode by their conversations. I think I said this to both my friends as we were watching. You can tell this show was actually written by a gay person, because there's a lot of BL series where it's like, obviously a straight girl is cosplaying a gay man right now. She's writing this because it is not doing it for me. Also, another thing I am very much enjoying is the fact that these characters, in my eyes, both of them, the leads, are so autistic coded. I wish they were just straight up actually autistic, but you know, we all know how it is. It's not even that great in like Western stuff yet. Like, we have so many few actually like autistic characters. I just got to sit here with my autistic coded characters and live with that. I think the dynamic's really fun because it's extroverted autistic and introverted autistic dynamic, and I love it, especially when there's great communication. Like this show, it is gonna become a favorite. It already is. Other shows I've been watching, I never played the game. I am not a person who plays games, but I obviously knew of its existence. It is pretty massively loved. I went into it because of the hype. I am not the biggest zombie fan. There are some shows and movies that I've watched that I do enjoy. I think I'm a lot more picky with the genre. This though, there was one point, I don't know what episode or what even was happening. There was one point where I'm alone in my room, but I say out loud as I'm watching this scene, "This is the best zombie show I've ever watched." The writing, like, it's really great world building. It's gay, like, and it's not just about how zombies are evil. Like, it shows how people are evil, and it shows, I think there's been like at least 2 episodes, like full episodes where a zombie has never showed up, and it's just showing how people are living in this situation. I feel like some people who are like super into the zombie genre might find that kind of stuff boring, but it's because this is done so well, and you end up being so interested in these characters. There's a lot of episodes where you're meeting people for the first time and you become so invested in them, either with love or with hate. Needless to say, I am very excited for season 2. A show that I watched the season 2 of. I binge watched season 1, I think just last month, so I didn't have to wait that long for season 2. As I was watching season 1, there's a few times where I almost stopped watching because it was so hard to watch what the main character was going through. The show is literally about her revenge. The only reason why I kept watching is because I just wanted to see how the revenge played out, and I'm so glad I did. Keep watching because those last few episodes were so satisfying. I swear I was like yelling at my screen for a majority of the last 3 episodes. So it was very fun and satisfying to watch. Very different from the last 2 shows that I mentioned. I try to stay away from K-pop survival shows because pain, especially when it's Mnet survival shows. With the evil editing and the favoritism, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I just do not enjoy it. But I had to watch because my boy Hui from Pentagon, my other boy Woongi, who was essentially, I won't go into the details, but he was basically kicked out of his group. All of the more effeminate members left the group, and then they were replaced with more manly members. So I stopped standing because that felt weird. And then of course, Jung, who was in a couple BLs that I watched, but I really love him. The evil editing and favoritism editing aside, it has been a very fun watch. If you're part of the fruit salad committee, you probably lovingly call this Gaze Planet. I feel like usually for K-pop survival shows, I have like a couple favorites, but I went into this already with some favorites. I swear, like I have like more than like 10 or 15 people that I really love, and that's like so rare. So it's been extra hard where I'm like, I don't even know who I would pick for the group, like the debut group. Totally obsessed with Hanbin. Music is a huge part of my life. I am constantly, if I wasn't filming this, I'd be playing music right now. This month's playlist is pretty tiny. Usually if you look at some of my other ones, they're pretty lengthy, but I think most of what I have in there are songs that just released this month, because there's other times where I'm like, it's not limited to songs that came out that month. No surprise, most of the only one of album is just in there. The only reason why a couple aren't is because they're Korean versions of songs that I'm already obsessed with, like Chrome Hearts. I was trying to hold back because I've listened to that song so much that it is already number 3 on my most played song ever. So I didn't add the Korean version to the playlist because I was like, you need to calm down. Speaking of songs that I have listened to a lot, as an autistic person, there is more than one way to stim. It is not just flappy hands and like a pop it. Those are things that I do. but one of my favorite stims is looping a song, and I will loop a song for months. Like I'll have other ones in between. Number one is Beyond. I don't see this song going anywhere anytime soon. This was only released in January, right? This one is number one on my most played songs ever. Even though I try to listen to other stuff during the day, this song will be playing at some point during the day. And not just once. It will probably at least be like 10 times during the day. I literally just mentioned this, but number two is Chrome Hearts. I cannot get away from this song. It's the chokehold this song has on me. If Beyond is playing, Chrome Hearts is also going to be playing right after it. Number three, we are keeping a theme here. Because it's my other favorite song from the Underground Idol project, if I had to pick, I think probably my next favorite would be Begin. Number four, when I had my first listen through that album, the whole album is really, really great. But this song, it just does something to my brain. I try so hard. When I listen to a new album, I will try to listen through the whole thing once. But sometimes when a song is so freaking good, I get to it and I just want to automatically start looping it, and then I forget to listen to the rest of the album. This happens way too often, and I think I've listened to a whole album and it's been like months, and then I go back and I'm like, I never finished this album because I like replayed that song. The only reason why it worked out is because this was the last song on the album. That is the only reason why I was able to listen to the whole thing. And number five, this is a very recent looping song. It is so good. It has definitely been stuck in my head a lot. So if I'm not listening to music, that is usually what is playing in my head. That is my first ever monthly faves video for this channel. Hopefully, if the ADHD doesn't get in the way, I can make one each month. And please yell at me in the comments if I haven't. If you got to the end of this video, I hope that was somewhat enjoyable. And yeah.